Hello and welcome to tutorial 2. By the end of this video, you will have learned how to explore the command palette, find and run robot commands, and access auto-generated documentation. Let's get into it.
Hello, this is Fay Boardbar.
And this is Erik.
Last time we mostly focused on importing custom setup codes. Now this time I'm going to hand right over to you, Erik, and what are we covering?
All right, today we're going to take a look at the command palette, and we're going to learn a little bit more about how to run commands and the difference between formula commands and VBA commands.
Awesome.
Let me share my screen. Okay, so the main thing that OA Robot is all about is called the command palette. So you have your button up here for the robot commands. When you do Ctrl Shift O, you get this cool little dialog with the friendly robot in the corner. This is called the command palette. And the command palette is basically a list of robot commands.
Ah.
And I have a gazillion robot commands because I've been writing robot commands for a long time, and I'm always thinking of more that I want. So I keep adding more and more as I think of them. You will have the robot commands that either you imported using setup codes, like we showed in the last tutorial, or that you've created yourself. I guess you're probably interested to know, what is a robot command?
Yeah, what is a robot command? Do you just scroll down that whole list? Is there a way of navigating through what you want?
That's a great question. So first of all, robot commands are curated microautomations. So they're just things like formulas or VBA macros or other little things that get things done that are named and easy to search for. And we do that using this command palette. At the top, this little box at the top, we call Hypersearch. And it's not your ordinary search box. I'm a little bit dyslexic, and I was never good at remembering keyboard shortcuts. So what worked best for me is to type as few letters as possible so I can still be super fast like I'm using a shortcut, but I can still find things in this list very quickly. So the example that I show a lot is auto fit column width. So I can type as few letters as possible and find something in this list, even though I have hundreds of commands. I can find auto fit column width by just typing AF. AF is a short way for me to find that. So we call that Hypersearch, and you can do column width, or whatever your usual googly type search is. But what you'll find is that if you know the names of your commands, if as you say them in your head, you just type the first characters of it, then you can be super fast. And in fact, some of the things it learns as you type. So you can teach it to be very fast at finding things as well by typing the fewest possible characters and arrowing down and selecting the one that you want. The next time it'll show up on top. So that's called Hypersearch.
Cool. So now we know what Hypersearch is. How do we find and run these robot commands?
Yes. So the little symbol to the left is what type of robot command it is. So there's the Lambda symbol is formula commands, and the little keyboard is keyboard send keys. These are AI chat commands. These are VBA commands. They're all listed all in one place. So you don't have to ever think about what kind of command you're running. You just choose it from the list and hit enter on it, and you can run it straight away. So I'm going to start by, I have a command for entering equals sequence 10.5 in a cell, just because I do that like all the time for doing demos. So that's the simplest possible formula command that I just ran. I have a formula command that basically is sticking this formula into a cell. If I wanted to show another example, I could do something like sum by column. So in my head, I'm saying sum by column, but my fingers are just typing the first letters of each word. This is a formula command that's included in ArrayRobot Volume 1. And once you've typed enough characters for it to show up in the list, you can just hit enter on it and it'll run it. And so what that just did is it applied a formula to that existing formula. So before we had this in the cell, and it just wrapped what was already in the cell with this additional stuff out here. So and then you can do Ctrl Shift Z, which will remove the outer function, and it takes you back one step. So that is an example of running a formula command. Another great formula command is T for transpose. If I just want to transpose an array, you can see how fast that is, because once you get used to it, instead of hitting F2 and then hitting home and then a right arrow and typing transpose and then all of that stuff, you can just do it super fast.
So a formula command works on the cell that you've got selected, and it just adds another layer around. If you've already got a formula there, it'll just keep adding functions to it.
Yes. And it's also, you can just use regular formulas, or you can use formulas that have lambdas, and you can interact with the cells in different ways. So for example, if I select these 4 columns here, and I do RC in my head, I'm saying remove columns. So what I want to do is take that array and I want to remove those 4 columns. I could do remove columns of array. This is also in ArrayRobot Volume 1. And you can now see that those 4 columns, they were in here, they just got removed from that array.
Amazing.
And that happens to be my remove calls lambda, which we were in a book 1 here, so it inserted that into the name manager like on the fly, without us having to figure out where is that lambda stored. And then it used my selection to figure out that the columns I wanted to remove were 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that is formula commands.
Very clever. And you said which was the shortcut, Ctrl Shift Z to remove the last?
Yes, Ctrl Shift Z is actually running a command that is part of Formula Robot. So you have to have Formula Robot in order to have this one. And what it does is this is an example of a VBA command. So this VBA command has it's basically a VBA macro that figures out what the outer function is, and it removes that and and it just keeps the first argument that's being passed to that function. So if it has other arguments off to the right, it removes those as well. So that's an example of a formula command.
Nice.
But a lot of the formula commands I use are like formatting related. I just do not like having to fish around for reaching for the mouse to do things on the home, the home ribbon. So if I want this to be accounting 2 decimal places, all I have to do is type A2 and hit enter, and I get accounting 2 decimal places. Or if I wanted that to be % with 1 decimal place, I just do a P1. Or if I want that to be a multiple with 2 decimal places, then I can just quickly format things in different ways like that.
That's awesome. So those are all formula commands. They're not VBA commands.
Those were VBA commands.
Those ones were VBA commands. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see that those are the VBA symbol, while these other ones are lambda symbols.
Awesome. And have you got any documentation that's generated?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So any of these command collections that we've created, or any command collections that you've created, automatically can generate documentation. So if there's a command in here that you want to see what the documentation is, you can select it and hit F1, or you can right click and do help. And what it'll do is it'll generate the documentation for all of the commands that are in that command collection. So this is Array Robot Volume 1. This takes a little bit to create because it actually has over 100 commands in it. But it'll show up in the taskbar here so that you can see that documentation.
Ah, I see. So we can see full documentation of everything that's in that Array Robot Volume 1.
That's right. So basically, up at the top, it basically looks at all of the definitions of the robot commands that were in this collection, and then it generates this documentation based on the definitions. So this one has 112 robot commands, so you can go through and see which ones are available in here and see the definitions of them and so forth. So if we wanted to see running totals by column or whatever it is, you can go down here and see the definition of it, how I defined it in order to understand how that robot command was set up.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's leave it there for today, and we will see everybody else in tutorial 3.
Sounds good. Thanks, Faye.